Flamingo Books. Shining English Reader. Series 6. Chapter 12. Excalibur. One day, not long after Arthur became the King of Britain, he went for a ride in the woods. Trotting along a path, he saw 3 fierce-looking men chasing his old teacher, Merlin. Now Merlin was a powerful enchanter, with magic at the tip of his fingers, but he didn't seem to be using it. Arthur spurred his horse and rode after them, his sword drawn. As his thundering horse reached them, the 3 men fled, and Merlin tripped and fell. Arthur drew in the reins and leapt down from the saddle. Merlin rose, dusted his untidy robes and set his pointed cap straight. It dropped to one side. "Now see what you've done, charging up like that and startling me." "Ruined my hat," he snapped. "Ha!" Arthur grinned, taking no notice of Merlin's tone. "If I hadn't come charging up, as you call it, those rogues would have cut your throat. Your magic didn't seem to be doing anything." Merlin grinned like a naughty schoolboy. "Oh no, there you're wrong, my boy. I would have dealt with those knaves without even straining myself. But then you wouldn't have come charging to the rescue. And I wanted you here. Now come along, we've things to do." Merlin walked on, humming tunelessly. "Where are we going?" asked Arthur. "Now, sir, haven't I taught you to have patience?" Merlin asked, wagging a finger at him. Arthur sighed and followed. They walked on until they came to a narrow pass. At its head there stood a huge knight covered in chain mail and mounted on a charger. The visor of his helmet hid his face, so did Arthur's own visor, and the knight didn't know his king stood before him. "What are you doing here, Sir Knight?" Arthur asked politely. "I guard the pass. If you want to go through you must joust with me," said the strange knight. "I'll change this custom," Arthur said to Merlin, "but now I suppose I'll have to joust with the fellow." Go on, said Merlin impatiently. "And be quick about it." Arthur and the knight charged at each other and the knight broke Arthur's sword. Arthur fell, and the knight stood over him with his sword at Arthur's throat. "Do you admit defeat or must I kill you?" the knight asked. "Death will come when it is time, but admit defeat I will not," Arthur cried and sprang up. The two fought, Arthur without a sword. The knight, after a struggle, had Arthur in his grip and was going to plunge the sword in, when Merlin walked up and slapped his hand away. "That's enough now," he said sharply to the knight as though he were a little boy. "This knight is too good for your sword." "Who is he?" the knight asked. "Your king," said Merlin quietly. The knight dropped his arm in fear, then raised it again. The best way to escape the king's anger was to kill him. But before his sword could come down, Merlin spun an enchantment around him and the knight dropped to the ground and fell into a deep sleep. Merlin helped the dazed king mount his horse. Arthur shook his head and looking down saw the still form of the knight. "Oh dear, you've killed the poor chap," he said. "You didn't have to do that." "This poor chap would have killed you," Merlin said impatiently. "And he isn't dead, he wasn't worth that much, I've just put him to sleep. Now let's be off. We've things to do and your wounds must be tended." Merlin took Arthur to a hermit who knew all the plants that healed and the hermit bound the wounds. As they were leaving the hermit's shelter, Arthur said, "Merlin, I have no sword." "Do not worry, there is one for you," he said. They rode through the forest until they came to the shores of a calm blue lake. In the middle of the lake was an arm clothed in white silk. In the hand was a shining mighty sword, jewels sparkling on the hilt. "That's Excalibur. That's the sword for you," Merlin said. "It belongs to the Lady of the Lake. If she wishes you to have it, you'll be able to take it out of the hand quite easily. If she doesn't, nothing will make the hand let go of it." Merlin took Arthur along the shore to where a small boat stood, oars set and ready. They climbed in and Arthur rowed swiftly to the center. Arthur gazed at the magnificent sword for a long moment. Then slowly he stretched out his hand and grasped it. For a second he thought the hand held it tighter. Then he tugged and the sword slid softly out of the hand that bore it. Arthur's heart leapt and he kissed the blade. "It's mine," he said softly. "Yes, it's yours, but only until the time when it must go back to the Lady of the Lake," said Merlin seriously. "Remember that always." Excalibur remained with King Arthur till he fought his last battle. As he lay dying, he remembered Merlin's words and commanded his faithful knight, Sir Bedivere, to throw it back into the lake. Sir Bedivere was very tempted to keep it, but honesty stopped him and he threw it into the clear blue waters. As it dropped, an arm rose out of the lake, caught the sword and whirled it 3 times. Then the hand, along with Excalibur, vanished into the lake. And Excalibur is still there waiting for King Arthur to ride again.